no promises on how well this will work. I'm trying to save the succulents. The husband's succulent garden, yes, we plant in soda cups that are cut down, bolted for lack of sunlight during the move, and if you leave them like this, they'll just die. So you can see in there one of them has died and one of them's almost died, and that one's trying to die. So I'm going to be sitting here working on cutting these down and repotting these, and I'll talk as I go. Now mind you, the camera is where I want my face to work, so this is going to be a little awkward. Redoing succulents is painful. I need scissors more than I need a knife. Hold on one second. It's painful. Where are the scissors? Nope. Nope. Okay, fine, I'll do the knife. Those won't work. Okay. It's painful because you pretty much have to kill the plant to try to save the plant. And it goes against everything you think when you're working with plants. So we're going to start with this one. Put it into the light. And I'm just going to cut okay. See that? That should become a new plant. Should. I've always had about 30% success rate in trying to salvage these. So all you do is you pop the little leaves off. And everywhere you pop a little leaf off, can that focus? Not really. It's not going to focus. Let's see if I do. Yeah, okay. Everywhere you have that little spot, it will put out new roots. So you just tuck it in. You want it lightly covered, but not totally covered. So every leaf will, in theory, become a new succulent. In theory. Like I said, I've always had about 30% success. All of these succulents were gathered at the old apartment complex. There was a house that their front yard had succulents, and the crows would dig through. So all of these were dug up by crows and left on the sidewalk. And the husband being, see, now that one broke. I really have a hard time seeing the cord. See, that one broke, so this leaf is no good. Okay. And I'm going to take it to here. If that had been a fully formed rosette, I would be doing this differently, trying to salvage it, but it's not a fully formed rosette. It bolted all the way to the top. So what I'm going to do with this, can you see that spot? No, you can't. Can you see that spot? Yes, you can. What I'm going to do with this is, okay, that soil is way too woody. There's a big, huge wood bark. Okay, that's too big, so I'm going to cut it. And I'm just going to stick that in and bury it. And it will either form a new plant or start growing well on its own. The soil I'm using is Miracle Grow for vegetables, which this particular bag is rather, and that stem piece I cut off, I'm going to bury and see if it comes up. This particular bag is rather woody. I wasn't expecting how woody it was. I'm kind of really disappointed in it. We've lost focus. Haha. See, I've already got that many done. I need to keep cutting this one down because I've got to get it down to the ground. And yeah, see, it's starting to die underneath. See, that leaf is all soft and squishy, and that leaf is completely dehydrated itself as it's trying to support the tower. So, and that leaf just broke off while handling it, and that leaf just fell off while handling it. See, it's trying to keep this in the camera, and I'm not succeeding. I need to get this up half of these leaves aren't going to root because they're too soft and squishy, and they're leaving too much of themselves behind on the stem. And I can't really see what's leaving what behind on the stem at this point. So that's the taproot, okay? Which is why you can bury a piece of stem and it becomes a taproot. So I'm going to pull as much of this dirt off as I can, making a mess over here that you can't see. And so I really need to turn this camera so that you can see what I'm working on and not necessarily where I'm planting them. Let's see, did that? Nope. Okay, so I've got this thing that allows me to maneuver, but it really doesn't work that well. There, no, there. And you can see part of my garden. Okay, so what's happening here as I'm working is the leaves are just falling off on me because they're the lower leaves. So there's a whole bunch where they've broken and they're not viable. I may have to jump up and run to the kitchen. I have potatoes boiling or simmering, and it just made that wonderful steam hiss noise. I'm going to break the taproot right there, mostly because it's halfway to rotted, and I am going to plant it in the hopes that it comes up. Okay? Because it could very easily produce a brand new rosette. So that one's planted. This, usually, can you see? Yeah. Usually if you can take the stem down to the ground level. Okay, so it doesn't look like much. It really doesn't look like much. But usually if you do that, you can get another plant out of it. I know, most people don't really care that much about succulents. And I would excuse myself by saying I'm bored, but the reality is I really like plants, and it hurts that these bolted, and I feel like I should have been paying better attention to them. Can you see how I lost a bunch to breaking? Again, I'm going to put this piece of stem in the dirt, and it may or may not make me a plant. Like that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now I just need to go through the leaves that still have their little root section versus the ones that don't. If you're, okay, that one has a really good visual. Let's see if I can get it to focus on. Nope. Okay, maybe if I'm out just a little bit further. Maybe if I grow it. Okay, there. Can you see how it has the little section that's going to make roots? As long as it has that half moon like your fingernails have with the little thing behind it, it should grow roots. If it doesn't have that, if it looks like this, where are you at? There you are. Where it's broken and there's no half moon, you aren't going to get roots. Trying to get this to tap. There we go. Nope. Okay, so that's that. So I'm pretty much just going through and checking each of these leaves. Now you can't see what I'm doing. Pretty much just going through and checking each of these leaves to see which ones are plantable and putting them in the dirt. Once you've done this, don't water for a day or 3. You want it to get a little dry. That one maybe. That's really questionable. Come on, dude, you can do this. There we go. Yes, I talk to my plants. Don't you? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? No, you're not going to make it. You'll make it. Nope. Okay, so that one I thought, because it had the where's the camera? There it is. I thought it would work because it has the spot. But then I noticed that the leaf is actually broken. So no, it's not going to work. So I have potatoes boiling because I had the thought that I wanted to make papas rellenos, which I was originally told was a Cuban dish. I learned how to make it in Cuba, and I was told that the papa referred to Hemingway. It's always interesting to me how different areas will take the same thing that everybody else has and make it their own and claim they invented it. So Papa's Rianos is actually found all through Central and South America. And the papas refers to potatoes. You make mashed potatoes, and then you make a filling, and everybody has different fillings. And the papas rellenos I learned in Cuba was a spicy beef with a brown gravy, and it was really, really yummy, and I really, really loved it. I don't have any beef right now, so I really can't make spicy beef. So I'm going to use some sausage and cheese and beans to fill it. But basically, it's potato croquettes. You make a ball, you fill it. You make a ball, you fill it, you fry it. Yummy. Okay? Basically. So what I just found with doing that one plant is I'm halfway done with the planter. Come on. Let's see. I'm halfway done with the planter. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go. Which means I'm going to finish the planter, and I have a tray out there that doesn't have the slots, and I'll fill that tray with dirt, and I'll do the rest of them in the tray without the slots, which will make it harder to pull them apart later, but we'll use that and just put it into the ground because we want to have some of these planted in the ground. The husband wants to continue having his little terrariums, but we also want to have some of these planted in the ground. So that'll work. You get these little, the husband calls them arms because they look like they're waving at you. You get these. They shoot out. Plant the whole thing right like that into the ground because that's what it's trying to do, is grow over and form a root ball. So that'll go into the ground here. And I've got 4 more of those here. They won't make proper rosettes in and of themselves. They're too small, they're too weak, and it's the first sign that the plant's having distress. First, it sends out shooters trying to find new dirt in sunlight. Then it tries to grow tall to reach sunlight, but by the time it tries to go tall, it's too late for the plant. They require 5 to 6 hours of direct sunlight a day if you're going to have succulents. It doesn't have to be warm sunlight. It just has to be direct sunlight. After that, they require 5 to 6 hours of shade a day. Okay, so we're starting on this one now. And again, I'm going to turn this ever so slightly so you can watch me deconstruct it. And this one's almost a rosette, so I'm going to try to save this rosette. We'll see if I succeed. Okay, so we start by taking off. We start by not dropping dirt onto my carpet. We start by taking the leaves off that look salvageable. It's not quite surgery. That flipped. I want you. You're salvageable. Those aren't, so those need to go over here. And I'll probably put 2 of these little leaves per slot this time instead of 1. Okay, you don't want to come up right now. And you'll note this one does not have quite the taproot of the other one. This one's taproot goes to right there. But like I said, these are plants that the crows picked out to get to the bugs underneath, or the worms underneath, and they were left on the sidewalk to die, and the husband brought them home and set them on top of the soil and let them grow in. He's been doing that for quite some time now, which is why we have so many. Okay, we're hitting the end of the ones that are probably salvageable. Fewer of these broke off and fell off than the other ones, so I have higher hopes. You're not salvageable. I have higher hopes. On this one, you can see where the little arms came out. This one's been in distress for a while. Okay, so I do need to pull all of these off. And now I have 2 different things to plant here. I have the root and crown, and then I have that. So this is a plant and this is a plant. This probably won't grow, but sometimes they do. The other one probably will grow. Okay, I planted there, so you're next. Nope, I already planted there. So you're next. This planter has holes and the dirt falls through, and I'm okay with that because with the dirt falling through, it gives the roots something to grow towards. Go in, go in. Okay, there's that. And then this, because I'm trying to save the rosette, you plant flush with the ground like that so that the majority of it's under. And then it should, I need a little bit more dirt. There, like that. Try not to get dirt into the rosette. Okay, and then I just have the rest of these leaves. And like I said, I'm going to do 2 per pot on this one. And hopefully I'll get twins. Maybe I'll do 4. Yeah, I think I'll do 4. So I think I'll do that. And it will be interesting to see what my success rate is. I'll come back and show you another video at another time. That's pretty much it. You don't water for a couple of days, and then you spray the surface only. And then once they start to throw little rosettes up, once you start to see that there's life, then you can come back in and start watering from the bottom, at which point the roots will start going down, which is what you want. And once you have a halfway mature looking, once you have a plant that's about this size here, once you have a plant that's about this size here, can you see that one? Okay. A little bit bigger than these. Then you take it out and put it in its own pot. That is your daily lesson on plants. Expect more of them. And I'll give follow-ups on these. These are going to go outside. Hopefully we have a blue jay that's living in the yard that's, actually probably have like 5 of them, that's rather obnoxious. And there's a crow nest in a big tree across the alley. And when we first got here, the crows pretty much ignored us because nesting season, and we weren't over there, so it ignored us. They ignored us. But then, after about 2 weeks, suddenly, if you went into the yard, the crow got hysteric, whichever one happened to be nearby. And it got worse and worse, and the flower bed started to get like there was something living in the flower bed, something nesting down. And crow babies will fall out of a nest, and mom and dad will ground raise them. And we're pretty sure that's what happened. We never saw the crow baby on the ground actively. Okay, now see, this one just came right out of the container without trying. It's completely dying off for lack of adequate sunlight. Anyway, then one day we went out and there was an immature crow that was capable of flying that mom freaked out because we were in the yard and the crow flew off. And from that point forward, the jays are back, the crows are ignoring us, everything's good because crow baby's no longer living on the ground in the bushes. At which point a cat showed up. And we're pretty sure that the cat belongs to the house. We're not 100% because it's not here all the time, but it couldn't be here at all while the crow. That is not salvageable as a rosette, so I'm going to wind up burying it. The cat couldn't be here at all while the crow was on the ground, so it's not surprising. That's what I'm going to plant. It's that little piece there. It's not surprising that the cat was gone for a while. It thinks it lives here. It thinks it owns the property. It has a collar that's too tight. It's half grown and female, and it hasn't had kittens before, which suggests this taproot is all dead. It's all squishy and soft. So I'm not even going to try salvaging that. So we're pretty sure the cat has been fixed. It's well fed. It's hungry now, but it doesn't look like it's been suffering for long. It guzzled the water we gave it in a manner that cats usually don't drink that much that fast. It loved on the husband without hesitation. It's a little skittish of me, but then so are most small things. We'll see. We aren't going to encourage it too much because if it has an alternative, it needs to find that alternative because it can't come in the house. I'm allergic. And by allergic, I mean it gives me massive asthma attacks. It sends me to the hospital and bleeding hives. So it can't come in the house. And it's not fair to have it live in the yard if it can find a home that'll take it in. This little one here has no root at this point. The root is completely dead. It's just a little one. The center is alive. Can you see that? The center is alive. So all I'm going to do is come in with my thumbnail and try to take the rosette like that. Okay, see how we have a clean break? And I'm going to set that against the ground and see if it roots again. Sometimes they will. Just like that. Can you see? Just like that. Okay, I do not have enough dirt to do that next big one. I do not have enough dirt to do these little ones. Are you rooted? You are not rooted. You are sort of rooted. I'll put you here and see if you come back better. And that one died. See, that one's just dead. And I have 5 slots left, so I'm trying to figure out what I can do with 5 slots. That one really needs to be done, so I'm going to have to do that one on the other thing. Okay, we'll go with you. Keep this trend up. Yeah, see, these have lost their taproot, which is usually the first thing that goes when they're having problems, because they absorb all the moisture in their taproot to survive. And then we didn't not water them. It wasn't a matter of not watering them. It was a matter of they got left in the dark too much. Okay, I've got 1 slot left. We're just going to pop a leaf off of this guy. Come on, you can pop off. It's proving me a liar. Come on, there we go. Okay. So that tray is done. I have another tray's worth of plants to process. There's not enough light here. I put the light here, but it's not here. See, there's not enough light, or excuse me, there's not enough tray to process these. Haha. Everything we own has skulls. And this one. So that'll probably be tomorrow's task. Anyway, it's been 23 minutes and I've just been rambling. So I will let you go and go check on my potatoes. Talk to you later.